Congressman Alan Grayson, grayson.house.gov, congressmanwithguts.com, and TradeTreachery.com is on the line with us. Congressman, welcome back.
Yes, thanks for having me, Tom.
It's great. It's always great having you here. TradeTreachery.com. Tell me about it. TPP. I heard that Harry Reid says not so fast on this fast track thing.
Well, just to make sure that all the listeners understand, we've got two elements to this. One is the so-called fast track, which wipes out any ability to amend or debate or even collect information about the president's proposed so-called free trade agreements, corporate giveaway agreements would be a better description. And then after that, there's going to be votes about the things themselves, the so-called Trans-Pacific Partnership. I hate these Orwellian names.
Yeah.
And then the so-called Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, both of which represent enormous giveaways of our sovereignty and basically corporate welfare wet dreams for multinational corporations and billionaires.
You know, I haven't looked at the list of countries recently, but if Singapore and Hong Kong are included, they should call this SHAFTA.
Yeah, that's right.
NAFTA, CAFTA, and SHAFTA.
It's amazing how much corporate interests dominate Washington industry. Here's a perfect example. The trade representative, the so-called trade representative, negotiates these agreements in secret with the help of 500 corporate henchmen, but no input whatsoever from anyone in Congress, any of our elected representatives. Right. We have to wait until the middle of last year for anyone to see any of these agreements in any sort of draft form. That was me, and I got to see some of part of one, and they told me it was classified and couldn't discuss it even with my colleagues.
Well, there's the WikiLeaks part,
staff,
isn't there?
Right? Yes. And now the president wants to ram all this down our throats by saying that we need to pass this fast track legislation so that we can't have committee hearings, we can't take evidence, we can't get any sort of input, we can't ask people questions on oath, we can't subpoena, we can't amend, we can't debate beyond 1 day, less than 1 day actually. They're giving us less than 1 day to negotiate, to debate these agreements that they purport to represent one half of the world's economy. And what they're really doing is basically trying to pull a fast one on all of us. That's what the fast track is. It's pulling a fast one on all of us.
Absolutely.
And it completely overlooks the real problem. The real problem is our trade deficit.
Yes.
We've lost 5 million jobs to these so-called trade agreements already. Since NAFTA went into effect, our trade deficit has exploded. Before NAFTA went into effect, America never had a trade deficit of as much as $135 billion in any year in history. Every single year since NAFTA went into effect, the trade deficit has been $135 billion or larger. In the last 12 years, we've set 12 consecutive records for the largest trade deficit in the history of the world. Every single year for the past 12 years, our trade deficit has been $350 billion or more. That is $1,000 for every man, woman, and child in this country. That's $1 billion a day for 12 years. And what's actually happened is that we have spent our money putting foreigners to work. They take our money and turn around and use it to buy our assets and push us further and further into debt. Right now, foreigners own $6 trillion of U.S. Treasury bonds and U.S. Treasury bills. That's trillion with a T. That's getting really close to $200,000 for every American. The amount of debt that we're piling up through these so-called free trade agreements is up and up and up with no end in sight, and in fact contributes to the deficit and the debt that we hear so much about, the federal deficit, the federal debt, because every time we take a dollar and send it overseas to buy some foreigners' work, whether goods or services, and they return the favor by turning around and buying our assets instead of buying our goods or our services, we have to make that dollar up somehow. And the only way we can make it up as a practical matter is for the federal government to run a deficit.
Right.
That's why we have these federal deficits that cause the Republicans to whine and harp on them the way that they do.
Right.
That's why we have them.
They're looking in the wrong place. Is it possible if Fast Track is defeated, and I know you're working your butt off to make this happen with TradeTreachery.com and everything you're doing, and I so salute that. If Fast Track goes down and they drop TPP in your lap, you will have the ability to have subpoenas and to do debate and to talk to the public about it. Is it possible that discussion could begin the unwinding of basically this era of Reagan, or this era since NAFTA anyway, and we could go back to rational trade policies in the United States?
Well, we have to. I mean, we're running out of time. How long can we continue to run the largest trade deficits in the history of the world or even the universe? How long can we continue to do that? We're really running out of time. The entire U.S. economy is worth roughly $60 trillion. And already we've taken a tenth of our national wealth and handed it over to foreigners just in Treasury bonds and Treasury bills alone. And that doesn't even begin to discuss how many corporate shares they've bought, how much real estate they've bought in the United States, how many businesses that they've acquired that are privately held businesses. I mean, it just goes on and on. And
now they're buying private housing. They're doing these real estate investment trusts, and it's incredible.
That's right. I mean, we had a taste of this, starting all the way back in the 70s when the Arabs started to run up these huge, enormous trade surpluses against us. And now the second generation of that has come along with Mexico and Canada, and now the third generation with China.
Yeah.
In essence, we're running trade deficits with only three countries: Mexico and Canada because of NAFTA, and China because China manipulates their currency and ours at the same time.
Right, and we gave the most favored nation status.
We're actually fine.
Yeah.